This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 10th day of August in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. A Guyana Defense Force sergeant and 2 security guards appeared in court today and were slapped with several charges related to last week's $58 million robbery and gold heist at a Kitty Gold trader. GDF Sergeant Keon King, during his initial appearance, entered a guilty plea. However, less than 2 hours later, when he returned to court for sentencing, he told the magistrate that he was not thinking clearly earlier and would like to change his plea to not guilty. He was not represented by any attorney. The magistrate accepted the change of plea. The other 2 accused, security officers Peon Lee and Delroy Jackson, both pleaded not guilty during their appearance. Jackson was represented by attorneys Dexter Todd and Dexter Smart, while the other man, Peon Lee, was represented by attorney J.C. Archibald. All 3 men have been remanded to jail until later this month, when the matter will come up again. Over the weekend, the Guyana Police Force made a major breakthrough in the case when they went on a search of the soldiers' East Bank Essequibo residence and discovered $18 million in a bucket that was buried in his backyard. The man and his girlfriend were arrested. However, she has not been charged, since it was later ascertained that she might have only been visiting the residence at the time. The robbery was carried out by 3 men who appeared at a gold trading company in Gordon Street, Kitty, pretending to be miners who wanted to sell their gold. As the workers at the company prepared to begin the transaction, the 3 men whipped out their guns and held everyone at gunpoint. They tied up the workers and emptied the safe with the money and gold, making good their escape within minutes. The entire robbery incident was captured on surveillance cameras. While $18 million in cash was recovered in that backyard find, the $20 million worth of raw gold remains missing, along with another large sum of money, believed to be over $20 million in cash. The police investigators are continuing their probe and their hunt for the other suspects in the case. More news coming up in just a moment.
What's our purpose? Together we rise. For our community, our customer, and our country. Our promises: strengthen our community, reliably connect our customers, innovate for all in our country. Together we rise.
Take your shot, get back to your life. Take your shot, take your shot, take your shot, get back to your life.
A message from Republic Bank.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster $100. Come get your Buster $100. Jungle Jam, Jungle Jam. Finance many as you can. Jungle Jam, Jungle Jam. The animals are waiting. Monkeys, giraffes, dinosaurs. Real excitement in a chocolate bar. Elephant, toucan, jaguar. Which ones will you find? Young in the Jungle Jam, Jungle Jam. Finance many as you can. Jungle Jam, Jungle Jam. Which ones will you find?
I'm in a rush. Digital got me in a rush. Driving style for the summer. Digital summer rush.
Nobody's doing it big like Digicel this summer. Top up with $1,000 or more and collect the letters to spell the word RUSH for a chance to win one of 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs. Yes, you heard it right. 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs.
Driving style for the summer. Hey, Digicel summer rush.
Start topping up now.
Let GBTI make your dreams of owning a home a reality. Buy or build your home with us. Let us help you to completely outfit your home and make it move-in ready. Need to purchase land? We finance that too. Benefit from our 10% down payment and interest rates as low as 4.25%. Calculated on the reducing balance with up to 30 years to repay. Switch your mortgage to us and learn about benefiting from the equity in your home. Invest wisely. Apply online or call your branch to schedule an appointment. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Welcome back. The two persons who were suspected to have planned and carried out the robbery and murder of an elderly Guyanese man at his Kanji home were charged and remanded to jail today in Berbice. The two accused, Malisha Dachin and Mario Bisundial, appeared at the New Amsterdam Magistrates Court and were not required to enter a plea to the murder charge. They are accused of killing Hemraj Pardesi at his East Kanji home on the 3rd of August. Magistrate Renita Singh remanded the pair to prison until the 9th of September, when the matter will continue. The two did not say anything as they were ushered in and out of the courtroom under police guard. 6 persons were initially arrested as part of the investigations. The 60-year-old man who returned to Guyana in July to begin the reconstruction of his home was found strangled to death on the evening of the 3rd of August. He was seen earlier the same day leaving a commercial bank. The police investigations led to the arrest of the woman first, and then the other accused, Mario Bisundial, was found hiding out in the bag dam in the area. A post-mortem examination revealed that in addition to the man being strangled to death, there were several other marks of violence about his body. His entire house was also found ransacked with blood stains on the stairs. This morning, the management of the Linden Hospital locked the gates on all unvaccinated staff members, including doctors and nurses. The move resulted in the hospital's emergency unit and operating theater grinding to a halt. Nurses, doctors, and other staff members who are all unvaccinated were denied entry into the hospital's compound this morning. They were told that they must be vaccinated in order to report for duty. The unvaccinated doctors were eventually allowed access to the hospital this afternoon. Some of those who worked the overnight shift were forced to work additional hours this morning before eventually leaving the hospital with several wards and units unattended. Some of the nurses and doctors did not provide any reason for not taking the vaccines to protect themselves against COVID-19. However, they complained that the government and the hospital were now forcing them to make a choice between earning a living and getting vaccinated. The hospital's management has indicated that it is following the government's order, which prescribes that all persons visiting a government agency must either be vaccinated or must make an appointment. Regional members of Parliament German Figuera and Devin Sears met with the locked-out nurses this afternoon and expressed concern about the situation and the decision of the management of the hospital. MP Figuera told the nurses that it is shameful that the same government that has denied them an increase in their salaries throughout the pandemic is now also denying them access to their workplace.
They are denying you access to go into the workplace to do your work. But you are not absent, you are here.
The Member of Parliament said the nurses will have to be paid since they were not absent from work. He also said he intends to raise the issue with the opposition leader. While the Georgetown Hospital here in the city is demanding that all visitors and incoming patients, except emergency cases, be vaccinated or show proof of a recent negative COVID-19 test result, it has not made a decision to lock out those nurses and doctors who are unvaccinated. However, at the Infectious Diseases Hospital at Liliendaal, a number of unvaccinated staff members were locked out yesterday, forcing those on duty to work double shifts. One doctor told News Source this morning that the situation got so bad overnight that doctors who started their duty at 6 a.m. on Monday were still working at 2 a.m. this morning, with no relief system in place. The government has been stepping up its policy to encourage vaccination. While it maintains that taking the vaccine is not mandatory, it has now put a number of systems in place to force the unvaccinated to get vaccinated. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony today confirmed that unvaccinated Guyanese citizens who are currently overseas will not get a free pass when they are ready to return home. During his daily COVID-19 update, the health minister said only children below the age of 18 years old and pregnant women will be exempted from the vaccination policy. Those women who want to be exempted under the pregnancy clause must provide proof of their pregnancy.
There might be other citizens who, for one reason or the other, who have traveled abroad, and because these requirements are now in place, have been out there, and they're now required to travel back. They might not have their vaccine. In those circumstances, they can apply to the task force ahead of time, and each case would be dealt with on a case-by-case basis.
The health minister said the ministry did not set up a facility at the ports of entry because it is not anticipating that unvaccinated people would be allowed into the country. He also confirmed that airlines will not be allowing persons to board without their vaccination card and the negative PCR test result.
With the negative PCR, if you don't have it, they're not going to allow you on the aircraft. And similarly, now that there's this additional requirement of getting your vaccine, if you don't have it, you will not be allowed on. So it's a simple thing. We can't put you on the aircraft and then you'll come here. But again, as I said, there can be a case-by-case examination depending on the circumstances.
The new measures went into effect on Sunday, and US-based airlines have already refused boarding to a number of unvaccinated Guyanese who went to the airports in Miami and New York to travel home. Airlines have been told by the Guyanese authority that they are not allowed to board any unvaccinated person for travel to Guyana. Under the recently amended order, the airlines could face possible charges if they go against the health regulations and vaccine requirement. In the wee hours of this morning, the National Assembly passed an amendment bill which clears the way for the decriminalization of cross-dressing. The bill amends the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act of Guyana by deleting a section of the act which makes it an offence for any person to dress as the opposite gender in a public place or for any improper purpose. The bill was presented by the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Anil Nandlal. The Attorney General said although the government received some criticism for the piece of legislation, its hands were tied because the Caribbean Court of Justice ruled back in 2018 that the provision which made cross-dressing a criminal offence was unconstitutional.
I'm told that some people have some strong Christian views. Well, in a liberal, secular society, in a democratic nation, you are entitled to those views. But the Constitution says, civil liberties say that those people are also entitled to dress in that way.
Nandlal said civilization and democracy compel a peaceful coexistence and that the world has now moved to the thinking that we are all God's creations.
Mr. Speaker, it is the duty of this House, having been directed by the declaratory orders made by the epicenter, the peak of our judicial hierarchical structure. It is the duty of this House now to remove that repulsive provision from the laws. That is an obligation that we have. It is a duty that devolves upon this House, having regard to the pronouncements made by our highest court. And that is all that we are seeking to do here. We are doing nothing extraordinary. We are doing nothing controversial. We are doing nothing, obviously nothing wrong. In fact, we are complying with our constitutional role as the legislature, the maker of our laws.
While there was pushback from some opposition members of parliament, opposition frontbencher and AFC leader Kemraj Ramjatan dressed the legislation with his blessings.
We will very much support this. At least I will support it to the extent that it is logically concluding that episode of where cross-dressing is an offense because it violates the human rights of the persons who want to cross-dress, and especially in the context of when they are not creating any harm. So I would like to support it, but also signal that that which is very much a personal liberty issue, a freedom of choice issue, comes into play and we must remember that. Thank you very much.
In a 2018 ruling, the Caribbean Court of Justice said the provision which banned cross-dressing is to be struck from the laws of Guyana. The case was heard in the local courts first, but eventually made its way to the Caribbean Court of Justice after the local courts found that it would be against the law for a member of one sex to dress in clothing of the opposite sex for an improper purpose. Still in the National Assembly, the government and the opposition clashed last night over the government's motion to adopt and implement recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry into the 1980 death of Dr. Walter Rodney. The APNU-AFC opposition described the government's move as opportunistic and not one which honors the life of Dr. Rodney. Opposition Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal said it appears that every time the PP Civic is at the crossroads, it resurrects Dr. Rodney.
This regime cares nothing about the real truth surrounding the unfortunate and untimely death of this illustrious son of the soil. They strive on distraction politics, and they're using it here again, sir, as a way of telling the Guyanese people, whatever punishment you're going through, we will simply not care. What we will do is to show you that the PNC is bad. But the people of Guyana will not buy that. The people of Guyana will not subject themselves to that, because currently, the 5 years we spent in office, the people of Guyana and the working class who are in the public service saw salary increase every single year of that 5-year period.
Mahipal also stated that the 2014 report which linked the PNC to Dr. Rodney's death is premised on hearsay and gossip, adding that credible persons were not called to testify before the Commission of Inquiry. Also batting for her party, PNC Vice Chairman Annette Ferguson, in her presentation, said the Commission of Inquiry report into Dr. Rodney's death lacked credibility.
This report is premised on hearsay and gossip, instead of pursuing means through which the truth could have been found out. From the start, when you read the verbatim report of the proceedings, you would realize that the Commission was paying a lot of attention on hearsay evidence. And the most glaring example of the flaw is in the Commission's report is the fact that they decided to accept the evidence of a convict, Robert Allen Gates.
But Minister of Foreign Affairs Hugh Todd, in supporting the motion, reminded that Dr. Rodney rose to international stardom and had an impact in many countries. When Rodney returned to Guyana, he said it is his view that the PNC was afraid of Rodney and his political influence at the time.
The Guyana Defense Force and the Guyana Police Force were not there promoting security of the Guyanese people. Instead, these institutions were acting at the behest of a dictatorial regime that promoted oppression of those that demonstrated political dissent.
Attorney General Anil Nandlal said the government was just attempting to honor the life of Dr. Rodney at the request of the late scholar's family.
All they did, they were invited to serve a cause in our country, and they came. And your government met with them, President.
Don't get caught short. Review your insured values at least every 2 to 3 years. The amount your property is insured for should always reflect the present cost to rebuild if it were to be completely destroyed.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
What's our purpose? Together we rise. For our community, our customer, and our country. Our promises: strengthen our community, reliably connect our customers, innovate for all in our country. Together we rise.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up, protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, a 56-year-old vendor in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Anna Mae Lewis, was charged yesterday with wounding Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, during a protest last Wednesday in Kingston. She entered a not guilty plea to the charge and was granted bail with one surety in the sum of 3,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars. The matter has been adjourned to the 15th of September. The Kingston Magistrates Court, which drew many curious onlookers, was heavily guarded by the police. There were emotional scenes outside the court as relatives of the woman gathered to lend support. According to reports, on the 5th of August, the accused allegedly, unlawfully, and maliciously wounded the 74-year-old Prime Minister by striking him on the right side of his head with an unknown object. The Prime Minister was flown out to Barbados, where he was treated and then released. Heavy rains pelted the northern Caribbean today as forecasters warned that a disturbance could soon become Tropical Storm Fred, following a quiet month of no named storms in the region. Power outages were already reported in Puerto Rico, where Luma, the company in charge of the U.S. territory's transmission and distribution system, warned those who depend on electricity for life-saving medical services to activate emergency plans. The disturbance, labeled potential Tropical Cyclone 6, was centered 150 miles southeast of Puerto Rico, according to the National Hurricane Center in Miami. It had maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour with higher gusts. A tropical storm has maximum sustained winds of at least 39 miles per hour. Tropical storm warnings were already in effect for the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, with forecasters expecting the potential cyclone to become the sixth named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. And finally tonight, international news. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has resigned after an inquiry found that he sexually harassed multiple women, prompting efforts to remove him. The Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul, will become the first woman to lead New York State. Mr. Cuomo had been facing pressure to resign from fellow Democrats, including the President Joe Biden. His resignation comes just a year after his public profile reached new heights in the early days of the pandemic, as millions of Americans tuned in daily to his no-nonsense TV briefings. It is the second time in 13 years that a New York governor has resigned. The independent investigation by the New York Attorney General's office found that the 63-year-old Cuomo sexually harassed 11 women, including state employees. Women allege that he made sexual comments, inappropriately touched or groped them, and kissed them without consent. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.